Story time with KhunShawn today. No advice or nothing like that. Maybe you can get some advice from this story, maybe not, but this is how I lost my first love. Okay, I hope you guys are ready. So, for those who didn't know, I was in the military, and my second year in, we ended up going to Korea. And in Korea, I had this amazing app called Tinder. I'm banned on Tinder, by the way. I'm not on it anymore. Anyways, so on Tinder, we planned to meet up to go to some movie theater in Seoul, but I can't remember which one. Anyways, long story short, by the time the weekend came, I actually slept in that day, so I totally missed our first date. Romantic, right? I know. But eventually we did meet, and when we met, remember, I am, 20 years old at this time? And this is like my second relationship, but this is my first relationship with a woman. So I'm 20 and she was 25 or 24 at that age. I can't remember which one. And immediately we pretty much hit it off. It was great. Our first meeting, I can't remember the first thing I said to her, but the first thing she said to me was, "Thanks for not standing me up this time." Thanks for not standing me up this time. And like I said, I didn't mean to stand her up. Like legitimately, just being in the military, it was tiring. And I slept in, and I was like, "Oh snap! I had a date." But yeah. So we met in Uijeongbu. So Uijeongbu is more towards north of Seoul, like 30 minutes from Seoul. And we go to like the biggest mall there. I think it's like, what is it, like 10 floors, 12 floors? It's something like that. It's a lot of floors. And we ended up going to the little food. It's not, I guess it's a food court, right? It's just like a bunch of different things you can try out and you can eat, and it was a great day. We took photos together. It was nice. And man, remember, this is how I lost her. So right now, this is like the happy time before I start getting sad. But it was a great time. I was young, and she was teaching me like what is it like to like fully make yourself vulnerable to another human being, right? Because I'm 20, I have trauma and stuff like that, and I'm young, and I don't really, understand. Like at that age, 20 years old, like I was physically fit, I had a great career, and of course, it's like she's not the only girl I ever like been with, right, romantically or anything, but she was like the first woman that I ever grew romantic feelings for, in the form of I want to marry this person. Legitimately, I was like thinking about it. I was like, man, like, anyways. So I was stationed there in Korea for 9 months. So during the span of 9 months, I met her like the second month. Like the second month I was there. So we had like 7.5 or 8 months together. And honestly, man, those 7 to 8 months, she made that shit special, man. I'm not gonna lie. She made that shit special. Like in the military, we have these things. I'm not gonna say anything like crazy specific, but basically, we will wake up early in the morning, like for training and preparation, because we were really close to the North Korean border. Every sign on almost all the walls in that base had some type of reference to fighting tonight. So are you prepared to fight tonight? So every time I had to do like 24-hour guard late at night, I'd go upstairs to like sweep or something. On the big wall, it says, "Are you ready to fight tonight?" And every time I read that, I always read that as, "Are you ready to die tonight?" Because it was no secret that we all knew if North Korea like invaded, like they would basically steamroll us because they have so many numbers, right? So our base is literally set up as like a speed bump to try and slow them down as best as we could. Granted, it would be a one hell of a fight because, Korea has lots of mountains, lots of terrain advantage. So if we did have time to set up, I'm pretty sure we could hold them for a while. But that's neither here nor there. Basically, what I want to say is she made my time there so much easier. Like, again, I'm just basically a kid. Like, I like young adult kid. It's like the same shit. So I'm freezing my ass off, and like she got me mittens and she got me a scarf, and it's like for some people, that's like, oh, okay, cool. But for me, who like I never had. I dated one girl, right, back in high school, but like, we're both in high school, so she doesn't really, do like she didn't really do anything that was like, oh, mind blowing. It was more like, yeah, this is my girlfriend. Yeah, we hug, we kiss. Yeah, we give gifts to each other sometimes. That's about it. But like for me to be freezing, like all the other soldiers are freezing their ass off, and here I am with some mittens and a scarf, and she gave me some warm up pack, except for the Katusas. Those are the Korean soldiers, and of course, like they live there, so their parents, of course, give them stuff, and it's it was comforting, right? And every time I got to see her, right? And granted, back nowadays, people can just go off base because I just visited Korea not too long. Like they could just go off base, go stay at Seoul for a night, 2 nights if they want to, come back and do PT in the morning. Like honestly, bro, what we had when I was there, bro, we had curfew, so you had to be on post by midnight. If you were not on post by midnight, guaranteed your ass was either going to be doing duty throughout the Ville. So the Ville is like the little village that's right outside the base. So doing during like off time, like 1700, 1800, right? Everybody's out having a good time, partying one night. You got to pull like some type of bullshit security, like basically what the MPs do, the military police, like they're making sure people aren't fighting or anything like that. You gotta basically join their ass, except you're not an MP, so you ain't got handcuffs. If someone starts swinging on you, you gotta defend yourself somehow. Anyways, she made it so much easier just being there and being away from America. And it was my first time overseas too, but I've always moved, so I honestly had no issues being there. But she let me experience the Korean culture. She took me to the Blue House. So the Blue House is like the equivalent to the White House in America. So it's like their government stuff. And I went to like the old temple that I can't remember the name of it, but it's like this super old temple right in the middle of a city. Um, Man, it was a good time. I wish I could really describe it better, but honestly, I'm not good at I don't want to give you guys like a long ass story. I just want to give you guys the image. Hey, I had a great time. This woman changed my life. And in the end, I messed it up, right? It wasn't her. It was 100% me, 100% me. And yeah, so 8 months go by. It's time to go back to the States. And she's off base. And like I was saying, nowadays they could just go off base. Back in the day, you had to go off base with a battle buddy, and on top of that, you had to be on base before midnight. But that didn't stop Private KhunShawn. You feel me? Like I was going on base by myself, like going to see her, staying in her room, and like she treated me so right, man. And like she taught me Korean, and like she stayed in Itaewon. So people don't know, Itaewon is basically like the foreigner hub. So a whole bunch of foreigners go out to Itaewon, not just soldiers. Like people legitimately on vacation in South Korea, like they'll go to Itaewon. I don't know if they still do it now, but basically imagine like a whole bunch of stuff, like a Nike store. I went there recently. It didn't look that good, to be honest. I don't know, because it was before COVID, right? This was a time before COVID-19. It was 2019, so literally the year before. So everything was awesome. The big Nike building, Under Armour, malls. There was like an underground thing to play like a virtual soccer game, and they had axe throwing and a whole bunch of stuff. They had line friends, like a big line friends building, like a bunch of merch. It was amazing, man. It was great. We went to On the Border. So On the Border is actually, it was my favorite restaurant growing up. So growing up in America, there's only a couple restaurants that are like, not fast food. So it's like Chili's, On the Border, Texas Roadhouse, Cracker Barrel, all these other places. Of course, they didn't have it in South Korea, except On the Border was there, and it was actually really good. So I would take her there whenever I get my paycheck. We go to On the Border, and I took some friends of mine there too, and I introduced her to my close friends, and yeah, man, like we had a great time. Like she made South Korea so much better. Anyways, here comes the fall. Like here's the 10-minute buildup before the fall, right? She was off base. It was like my last 2 or 3 days there, and I couldn't go off post to see her, and I really wanted to. And being someone who doesn't understand themselves, let alone understand how to handle leaving somebody that you love because you're so young, you don't understand feelings and your emotions. I basically told her to go away. She drove, not drove. She took like the transit. It was like she lives in Itaewon, and that's an hour. An hour. She would get on the transit for an hour to come see me, and then we'd meet up, and then we'd take an hour transit back just to Itaewon or whatever, Seoul, wherever, and just like be together and just spend what limited time I had, right? Because I had to be back on base by midnight, so I never got to stay over. But it's like the small amount of time we had together felt like eternity. Yeah. Obviously, I still feel some type of way. I'm about to start crying like a little baby, but that's okay. It's not the first time I've cried on camera, so it's like whatever. But yeah, she came to the base. She was like, "Can I see you one last time?" And I was so scared. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared because if I got caught off base by myself, I would lose rank. I'd potentially, have to end up, no. Even though I loved being with her in Korea, I absolutely hated being on base in Korea because you share a room and everybody shares a room together in one fucking building. So the people you go to work with, you end up sleeping right next to the piece of shits that you don't like. Like your friends are there too, but it's like you can't really have fun with your friends because you still live in the same building with NCOs, and some NCOs have sticks up their asses. So like one night we're playing Uno, and we had just got some new privates, and like we're playing Uno, we're having a good time, but they're female, so you have to keep the door open. You're not allowed to have the door closed with females, or you have to have it cracked or something like that. So like we're playing Uno. Of course we're loud, but it wasn't even like 11. Like granted, it was probably around like 10:40, okay? Like around 10:40. We're having a good time, and this sergeant comes in. He's like, you girl, and like he said, he called out the girl specifically because they were being the loudest, but granted, they're brand new privates. They're playing Uno. They're in South Korea, and they're like 18 years old. So like, yeah, they're gonna have a good ass time. So he's like, oh, you girls are being too loud. I can't sleep. Blah blah blah. And like, of course, like one of them, like they're both Hispanic, but one's Hispanic and short. So she was like, oh, we're just having a good time. Like she talked back basically. And he told her to leave, like, cause I think all the girls had their own building. Yeah, I think all the girls had their own building. They did share it with some guys upstairs, but like the ground floor was like all of them. And like he kicked them out and blase. And it's like, you can't really enjoy your time there because it's like you're the military. As much as I love the military, right? As much as I enjoyed the structure and like the activities that we got to do, it was still like jail. Like you're basically in jail. Like let's keep it a buck. It's basically jail. Like every time people talk about their contract, they're making it seem like, hey, how long till you get out of jail? It's like, how long on your contract? 2 years? Oh, 3 years, whatever. Oh, I just re-up. Oh, I just got a new contract, blah, blah, blah. Oh, where are you going to PCS? Oh, I'm going to go over here, go to Fort Hood, go to whatever. And it's like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah. But you get no privacy. You're subjected to somebody else's will because they have more rank, even though like the rank structure is like, congratulations, you've been in longer. That doesn't make you a better soldier. Blah, blah, blah. So I was very nervous. I couldn't leave. I was scared. I was going to run into a sergeant because like the sergeants could go off post by themselves, right? But you always, if you were junior enlisted, you had to have somebody else with you. And there was nobody that was going to go with me. Like my friend, like, because we left in like sections, right? It's like the first people there, they leave last. The last people that go there, they leave first. I don't know why. It is what it is. So we got to go and we were the first ones to leave. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go home. I'm going to go back to America. And of course I wanted to keep in touch with her, but it's like that one split second bad decision because I didn't know how to explain to her that, you know, I love her, right? I loved her. I wanted to come back. I wanted to see her. And it's like, I didn't know what to do. I was confused and I mean, there's old videos. Like I was going to personal health and stuff like that. Personal health is basically you go to therapy. So of course I had issues. If you go to therapy, you're looked at as weak. It is what it is. It's, you know, it's the military culture, right? It's macho, hua, fucking alpha male this, alpha male that, airborne, fucking stab a guy in the eye, blase, blase, right? So obviously if you go talk about your feelings, you looked at as weak, and then you get the fucking boot eventually. And it is what it is. It is what it is, baby. I ain't complaining, right? Because I'm living life now. I enjoy life now. So I'm not too upset with it. That being said, I was fucking terrified back when I turned 21 then. I was 21 years old. I was a PFC, I believe. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go back to America. Everything's going to be okay. I'm going to be so much better, you know, because, you know, I'm not living like, yeah, you still get a roommate. And like back in the States, you get a roommate, but you get your own room. You just have a common area. It's just the kitchen and the toilet you share. But in Korea, like you share the whole room with another person. So I was like, I'm going to have my own space back. I'll get to relax. I'll be able to like maybe decompress because I was stressing hard, man. I started taking antidepressants. I was like, man, I was like 5 steps away from fucking self-deleting my character. You feel me? I was so fucking done. But she made it like so much easier. And it's like, oh, you know, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe life's not that bad. You know, this is the first woman I've been with, and she's so kind and caring, and she's showing me another way of life. It's like every time I had an issue, she was there, and it's like, how do I let her know that I'm too scared to go out? And it's like, for some fucking reason, right, I decided to say, go away. Our time here was fun, and I called her like I called her a, what did I say? I said she was like a, what's it called? I can't remember the name of it. Like I said, my memory's fucked. But a tour guide. I was like the greatest tour guide. Even though she was my girlfriend at the time, I was like, oh, she's a tour guide. Because, you know, I didn't know what was going through my head. I didn't know what I wanted. I had other girls messaging me, of course, like, other people want my attention, and it's like, what do I want? You know, as a young kid, it's like, you know, I'm not really looking for a relationship. Or even though she was my girlfriend, it's like she was my girlfriend for the time, but she wanted something serious. And I couldn't really grasp that because it's like, you want something serious with me, but I'm only here for 9 months. And then she was talking about, well, you could always come back or I could visit. And I was like, I ain't trying to do all that. You know, I got all these other girls back home. if I could go back in time, bro, I would have traded all those other girls for her 100%. And, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, bro. But honestly, if you can find one down ass chick, bro, she is better than all the hoes in the world. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, bro. That one chick that can change your life, fucking way better than honestly, 75 to 80% of the hoes that I've met, compared to I shit you not. I have met and I've been with 50 plus girls, right? I want to tell you the truth, bro. Only 80% were worth being around or giving my energy to and being with them. I'm telling you, out of 50, there's five, bro. Five, I will be yeah, man, these five girls out of 50. So I'm telling you, if you can find one, it's worth it. Anyways, I broke her heart. I broke my own heart. Little did I know. I was trying to rub it off I ain't worried about it. But when I got to the States, it didn't get no better. I got more depressed, and I was like, I'll bounce back. You feel me? I'll bounce back. So, I get a rank up. Now I'm a specialist. I'm telling privates what to do. And it's okay, let me get my mind on track. Let me stop worrying about relationships or whatever. Let me just embrace the suck, right? That is literally a quote in the military: embrace the suck. Because no matter what, the military is going to suck. Whether it's you don't like your job, your MOS, and you could always change your MOS, right? So that was what I was grinding for. I was like, fuck it, I'll pull up with this field artillery stuff for 2 more years, and then I'm switching, bro. I'm gonna go to do something else, something with photography, something I'm actually passionate in. So that was my I switched to the grind, said this is gonna suck. Let me at least thug it out until I can switch jobs. Little do I know, go into behavioral health, put a fucking target on my back. But it is what it is. Anyways, I got back to Fort Bliss in El Paso, right? And remember, I had got back 2019, right? 2019, 2018, 2019, 2019. If y'all remember, in 2019, there was a shooting in the Walmart in El Paso. So, rest in peace to those people that lost their lives to that dickhead. But when it happened, it's everybody's on lockdown. The base is on lockdown because it's an active shooter. It's one of the first active shooters that were in El Paso to begin with, right? That none of that had ever happened before. This dude drove from across the country to go to El Paso to shoot up some Hispanics. That guy was a piece of shit, and I hope he's rotting in hell, even though I don't believe in it. Maybe he's in Iraq or some shit, purgatory. That's worse. But she messaged me, right? And I gave her my contact. I don't know how she messaged me. Bro, I'm telling you, when I said I fucked up bad, because she messaged me oh, are you all right? And, this was I broke her heart, bro. I broke her heart. And she gonna message me, are you all right? And I'm just yeah, I'm fine. And it's she's oh, if you want to be friends. And I'm a part of me wanted to say yes, but I was just so I didn't know. Like I said, I was I threw away for a second, bro. I'm not gonna lie, because I was on antidepressants. I fucking threw away my emotions. I threw away my sense of self, right, for this job, for this career. I threw away Sean. I threw away me just to be my last name that's on my fucking name tape. I threw away my sense of self, and I was. It was some people whenever they're okay, I'm done playing around, I'm gonna be serious. If you watch some type of anime and they get serious, right, and they're oh, I have nothing to lose, and then they go for that one move that's gonna kill them, but they're fuck it, it's better than nothing. Imagine right before they after they transform, somebody's it is like the anime. It's oh, okay, I'm done, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna just focus on this, and then here comes somebody tugging on you, hey, are you okay? And it's no, I'm not okay. But I also don't want to be okay, because last time I was okay, I turned into this. So what would happen if I turn this shit off and then I go back and then you know what I'm saying? I said, I was going to self-delete, bro. I was going to be fucking control, alt, delete, baby. I was going to be out this fucking game. I was going to be out. It's game over. Maybe we get a reset. Maybe we get, fuck it. I don't care. And it's like, nah, bro. Like, even on that second chance, I was like, no, like, don't message me, blah, blah, blah. Shitty thing to do, man. Honestly. Shitty thing to do. 100% a shitty thing to do. But I lost her contact, and I tried, like, because COVID happened, right? And like during isolation, I'm over here thinking about my life, and I'm like, I'm back in Texas. I'm staying with my mom, and I'm like, okay, let me go to college, I guess. I can go to college, and I'm like, the whole time I'm like, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, what is my purpose? I'm sure a lot of people saying that shit in 2020, right? What is my purpose in life? What is this? What is that? And I never really, after I got out, I'm not gonna lie, after I got out the military, I was happy as fuck. I went back to doing YouTube. I was gaming. I was working with GLP. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm gaming. I'm doing my, like, and it's like, there was something that was like, hey, what about love? Yeah, you're making money, you're playing games, you're doing what you wanted to do as a kid, but what about, you know, love? What about something deeper than just having fun? And I thought about it for a long time, and I was like, there's really only one woman. Like, even though during that time I had met women that were really good, and I still talk to some of them till this day, right? Because I had changed, and I didn't like fully, grasp what I was becoming, which was a man. It was still like, okay, I like you girls, and I'm gonna treat you girls good. I'm gonna treat you ladies good. But at the end of the day, I feel like my heart belonged to somebody else, thousands of miles away. So I saved up money. I moved to Thailand. I saved up even more money. And when I came to Thailand, I have met awesome women, amazing women. I'm telling you. I was like, yeah, I like you. Maybe I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And for a lot of women, of course, that fucking hurt them. And it's like, yeah, I'm the bad guy. Knees IBD, fucking, yeah, I'm the bad guy. And I was like, fuck it. Yeah, it is what it is. Saved up money. And, during 2020, 2021, Korea was like one of the last people to open their gates. So, of course, like, once I find out, I dropped everything. Like, I was working on a project for the gaming job, and I texted my boy. I was like, bro, I gotta go to Korea. They just opened up. I gotta go find my true love. I'm not bullshitting you, man. And I talked to several people on my journey, from getting my ass on the plane in Bangkok to flying all the way to Seoul, Incheon. I told like 5 different people, because I'm just like bored as fuck. I'm just like, oh, what are you going to Korea for? Oh, what you blah blah blah. And of course they asked me, and I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna go look for my first love. And that's what I told them. And they're like, what? And I tell them the story, like, yeah, I fell in love with this girl in Korea, but I broke her heart, and now I'm gonna go back to apologize. That was it. I didn't want to go back to Korea to be with her or to marry her. I went back to Korea because I wanted to say I'm sorry for breaking her heart. And it's only been like, it had been like 3 years, 2 or 3 years at that point, right? So like, there's still some window, right? Now it's been like 5 or 6 years. So now it's like let me not get ahead of myself. All right, so I go to Korea, and I'm telling people my story, and bro, I heard this like 3 or 4 times, and I think I might do it. They said, this sounds like a movie. And I was like, you know what? It kind of does sound like a movie. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a reenactment or something of my adventure. Anyway, spoiler alert, I didn't get to see her, but that's okay. I went back to Itaewon. I went back to her apartment because I remembered it like the back of my hand. I even studied it, and it's like, bro, I ain't gonna lie. When I said I gave my all for this. I like legitimately, like, even I went back and I contacted my old phone provider, and I told them to send me every single phone call, because like she texted me. Told them send me every text log of the past 2 years. I went through all those shits trying to find her number, and I couldn't find it, bro, because it's not easy. Okay, it's not easy to try and find somebody that messaged you like 3 or 4 times, right, in a certain window. Like it is not that easy. It's not that hard either, but it's definitely not that easy. So I couldn't find it. I was like, fuck it. I went to Itaewon. I went to her apartment, was her apartment, knocked on the door, and some guy was like, confused, like, why the fuck is this random black guy knocking on my door? And I showed him the picture, and like he's like, no, nobody here. And I went to her old job, which wasn't far from her old house, right? And it's starting to sound creepy, right? And it's starting to sound weird, but it's like, bro, my mission was to try and grab something that had already lost my hand. But at the same time, I needed to do it for myself. As creepy as like some people say it's romantic. Some people said it was creepy. Legitimately, I talked to some people. They're like, yeah, that's romantic. Other people say, that's a little weird. And it's like, yeah, it is weird. But at the same time, it's my first love, right? This ain't no random bitch, okay? Like, this is someone I honestly cared about. And I was going to apologize to for ruining what we had. Whether we would have made a new relationship, or whether we would have been friends, or whether she would have had a new boyfriend or got pregnant, it's like none of that really mattered to me, because I wasn't going there to change her life or anything like that. It was legitimately just a bridge of apologies. That's it. Just like, hey, I'm sorry. I fucked up. I was young. I was dumb. If you would love to keep talking, that would be absolutely amazing. But I would never tell somebody to leave their current life to go back to something in the past. Like, that's just not me. That's just not what I do. So I went and I couldn't find her. And even though I couldn't find her, I ended up finding myself, my old self, before I got traumatized in Korea, before I wanted to control, alt, delete. I found my edge, right? Because a lot of people know, like back, especially when I was younger, bro, people said I'm headstrong, and they say I'm very driven, right? That's the one thing I will say about me, before I start saying I'm the greatest, because that's the type of ego. Like, I feel like if you don't have that type of ego, you won't really cut it in the entertainment game or this YouTube game. But before, like, I wanted to be like top shit, I just wanted to be funny, right? I just wanted to have friends, because I didn't have friends growing up. I was bullied as a kid, right? But that didn't stop me from being myself. And playing video games doesn't help either, especially at a young age, when all the video games are like, you're the chosen one, you're this, you're that, you saved the world, you stopped whatever, blah, 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 you beat the bad guy, right? So back in the day, I would play games like completely heroic. You feel me? Like Infamous 1, like, bro, all good. And then I did the evil ending, and then I did the good ending, and then I chose to take the powers to see what would happen, and it just makes all your karma go to negative and stuff like that. But back then, like, all games had a karma system. All of them had a karma system back then. And I would mostly go for the good endings first and try out the bad endings if it was interesting. But all that made me think, hey, maybe I'll find her. It gave me hope, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I had hope to find her. And even if I didn't find her, which was in the back of my mind, it was in the back of my mind, I won't find her. But before all that, it was, I'm going to find her and she's going to have a new man. Or I'm going to find her and she's not going to want to talk to me. Or I'm going to find her and she's going to have a kid. Or I'm going to find her and she's not going to want to talk to me or want to see me. Or she's going to be like, why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. I had every doubt in my mind. Every single one. Every doubt. And I still fucking did it. I still fucking did it. I got my passport. I booked the tickets. I bought the hotel. I stayed in a shitty hotel. I stayed in the ones people used to fuck and then to leave. And I stayed the night in that bitch, and I felt all the bad juju. I just felt uncomfortable sleeping in there. I literally, all the clothes I wore in that bed and shit, I just left them there. I said, fuck no, I ain't taking that shit back home with me. No, I left all that shit there. And it felt good. It felt good to do it, because at least I tried, instead of saying what if, or all the doubts that were in my head. Every single doubt, anything that you can think, I already thought it. I was like, yeah, what if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? What if that? What if that? What if I don't see her? Blah, blah, blah. What if she has a man? What if she moved on? Blah, blah, blah. And I still fucking did it. Because at the end of the day, man, it was better for me to go there and find myself than sit here for it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I live a great life. I live in a great area. I have great things. But in the back of my mind, having all this greatness, I would have had what if, what could have been. That's not even in my mind. So I would advise you guys, maybe you don't got to do what the fuck I did. Maybe you could get lucky and just message them on Facebook, right? That's probably what some of y'all probably said. Why didn't you just message her online? She had no digital footprint. And I haven't looked since. Maybe she has one now. But back then, she had no digital footprint. She didn't really use Instagram. This how I know she was a great girl. She didn't even use the internet like that. She had an Instagram about dogs. And she would go take care of dogs on like her days off because that's what she liked to do. That's how good of a person she was. She would work at a restaurant. She would bake me cakes and she would like treat me like a fucking king. And all she did on the weekends was hang out with me or go hang out with at animal shelters and hang out with and train them and like be with them. That's it. That's how I know she was like an amazing woman. And that's how I know she's probably doing really good for herself, right? I hope she's doing really good anyways, because that's all I can do. I know even if I was to see her, it's like I would reach out. I would say, "Hey, how are you?" Blase, blase. Of course, still apologize, right? That's just because all this time has passed doesn't mean I'm not going to say sorry for what I did. But at the end of the day, I think it's even better because I'm more solid mentally and emotionally because I already did everything. I already took the risk and it didn't pay off. But that's okay because I found myself. I legitimately found myself. I was so depressed and so many doubts. And it's like, I couldn't find her. I gave it my all. I told my boy, I was like, "Hey, Mike, I can't find her, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Oh man, how do you feel?" And I was like, "Honestly, I feel fine because at least I tried." And a lot of people don't try, especially as hard as I did. I went through 2 different countries to get to not see her. So yeah, that's how I lost my first love. And if I ever see or hear from her again, Sammy, I am so sorry for everything I did wrong all those years ago. But I hope you're doing good and I hope you're taking care of yourself. I do still love you. And that's it. That's it. So hope you guys enjoyed the story, how I lost my first love. If there's any questions, of course, I'm going to read them in the comments. Check them out. If you guys want to share your stories too, I'd be happy to read them. Yeah, it's a tough world, bro. It's a tough world. But that doesn't mean give up. That doesn't mean lose hope. That means try again. And even if you don't find the conclusion that you really wanted, because I would be happy as fuck right now to have her in my life. But just because I don't, that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep living my life. I still have wonderful women in my life. I still have great friends I talk to. I still have you, the audience. I have great people. So maybe this story helped you. Maybe you'll do something, or maybe not. Or maybe you didn't even watch the video and I still get to upload it because I know there's quite a few people that will actually watch it. So shout out to you for watching it. I appreciate it. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. And yeah, maybe I'll do some more stories. I do, unfortunately, have a lot of stories, right? Growing up, I was like, oh, maybe I'll have some stories, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that is how it works. If you go do stuff, you will have stories. So I do have a couple, and I'm making more every single day. And maybe one day I'll tell a story about you. Till then, cheers, drink your water, have a good night. Peace.